The turkey was perfectly golden. The cranberry sauce glistened in Grandma's crystal bowl, and the scent of pumpkin pie wafted from the kitchen. I'd spent all morning preparing this meal, just like I had for the past 30 Thanksgivings. Everyone was gathered around my dining table. My daughter Margaret, her husband Rick, my granddaughter Ashley with her husband Derek, my grandson Tommy, and a few other relatives who showed up religiously for my cooking but rarely for anything else. I was placing the green bean casserole on the table when Ashley stood up, champagne flute in hand. She was wearing that designer dress I'd helped her pay for last month, when her credit card was mysteriously maxed out. "Before we dig in," she announced with a rehearsed smile. I knew all too well, "there's something we need to say." The room went quiet. Forks paused midair. My heart sank. I recognized that tone, the same one she used when she convinced Margaret I'd ruined her sweet 16, though I'd spent 3 months' savings on it. "We had a family vote," she continued, looking around the table like she was about to accept an Oscar. "And we've decided you're not family anymore, Grandma." Silence. Then, cheering. Actual cheering. My son-in-law Rick raised his wine glass in toast. Tommy clapped like he was at a ball game. Even Margaret, my own daughter, laughed and said, "Well, someone had to say it." I sat frozen, staring at my plate. The stuffing had gone cold, but my blood was boiling. My brother Frank, the only one who hadn't cheered, stared intensely at his napkin, refusing to meet my eyes. "It's probably for the best, Mom," Margaret added, reaching for the gravy as casually as if she'd just commented on the weather. "Wow," I said quietly, pushing my chair back slowly. "You actually rehearsed this." Ashley grinned wider. "You've been toxic for years. We're just finally done pretending." "You're not family," Margaret emphasized, serving herself another helping of mashed potatoes. "It's unanimous." I looked around. No one spoke up, not one person. "Good," I said softly. Then I reached into my purse beside my chair. "I figured this might happen," I added, pulling out a thick manila folder and placing it gently in the center of the table. The sound it made, thunk, cut through their satisfaction like a knife. Ashley blinked. "What is that?" I smiled, leaned back in my chair, and folded my arms across my chest. "Why don't you find out?" She snatched it up and ripped it open, her mouth already twisted in that snide little smirk she always wore when she thought she was winning. Then she turned the first page, and stopped smiling. Her face turned pale, her eyes scanned the next page and the next. Then she screamed. Ashley's scream hung in the air as her chair crashed behind her. She bolted upright, slamming the folder shut like it had burned her perfectly manicured fingers. "You monster," she cried. "You messed up, twisted old woman." Gasps echoed around the table. Derek, Ashley's husband of 3 years, snatched the folder and opened it. His jaw dropped as he flipped through the pages. "Is this?" he started. I nodded once. "It's all real," I said calmly. "Every word, every receipt, every screenshot." The dining room went dead silent. You could hear the ice melting in the water glasses. Margaret's mouth opened then closed again like a fish gasping for air. "You were so sure I wouldn't fight back," I said, standing up slowly. "So sure I'd stay the quiet one. The doormat, the ATM." I leaned over and looked Ashley dead in the eye. "But guess what? Your little show is over." The folder hadn't appeared overnight. It was the result of years, decades really, of systematic exploitation, dressed up as family love. I was never their favorite. Margaret was the golden child, honors student, homecoming queen, knew exactly how to work a room. She could convince anyone of anything with those big blue eyes of hers. I was the practical one, the steady one. I worked hard, saved my money, built a modest but comfortable life after Henry died when I was just 39. I'd put Margaret through college, covered her down payment on her first house when she married Rick. Then came the grandkids, Ashley and Tommy, and the cycle continued. Dance lessons, soccer camps, prom dresses, first cars. When Ashley graduated from college, after switching majors 3 times, I paid for half her wedding to Derek, a marketing executive with more ambition than ethical boundaries. Margaret and Rick couldn't afford it, but somehow managed a 2-week Caribbean cruise right after. I never complained. Instead, I kept helping, paying for Rick's back surgery when their insurance denied it, sending money when Margaret claimed they couldn't make the mortgage, covering Ashley's car repair when she wrecked her Ford Explorer, even helping Tommy with tuition when his scholarship fell through. They always said thank you. Sure, but with that tone that said, well, of course you'd help. What else do you have to do with your money? I was single, a widow for over a decade, no romantic partner, just me, my garden and my bookkeeping business. And in their eyes, that meant I had nothing better to do than fund their messes. You should be grateful. I even invited you today, Ashley said, finding her voice again. After everything you've done, everything I've done, I repeated, my voice dangerously quiet. Let's see what's really in this folder, shall we? Page 1, I said, taking the folder from Derek's stunned hands. Wire transfer, $14,000, to Margaret and Rick, June 2018. Purpose stated, emergency house repairs. Actual use, I looked directly at my daughter. A kitchen renovation, featuring that Viking range you bragged about on Facebook, the next month. Margaret's face flushed. That's not page 2, I continued. Check for $8,700 to Blue Ridge Rehabilitation Center. For Rick's back surgery, that turned out to be a 30-day alcohol treatment program. You all hid from me. Rick looked like he might be sick. Pages 3 through 7. Ashley's requests. I turned to my granddaughter. $3,400 for dental work that mysteriously became veneers. $2,800 for textbooks during a semester you actually dropped out of. $6,200 for car repairs after an accident your insurance wouldn't cover because, oh right, you were texting and driving. Ashley's eyes darted to Derek, then back to me, then to the folder. This is invasion of privacy, she spat. You had no right. No right, I said, standing taller. You just stood in front of this whole family and declared me not family. You all applauded, and now you're upset that I came prepared. Derek flipped through more pages. What's this about the Hyatt in Phoenix? He asked, his voice tight. Ashley's head snapped toward him. Don't start. Who's Ryan? He continued. Why were you at a hotel for 3 nights on my credit card? Her silence was more damning than any confession. Wait, Margaret cut in, holding her hands up. Can we all just calm down and be reasonable? Sure, I said. Let's be reasonable. Let's talk about the time you called me a selfish old bats in a text to your friend Janine, while cashing the check I sent for Tommy's summer program. She blinked rapidly. That's not fair. We were under stress. No, I snapped. You were under stress, and I bailed you out. Every single time. And the one time I said no, when Ashley wanted me to co-sign a loan for that ridiculous juice bar idea, suddenly I'm the enemy. Frank, who had been silent until now, finally spoke up. Carol, you're making this into something bigger than it is. I turned to my brother, and my voice dropped to a whisper. You knew, you saw it, you heard it, and you let it happen because it was easier than standing up to them. He didn't deny it. Ashley slammed her hand on the table, rattling the china. You're just bitter, because no one needs you anymore. Wrong, I said coldly. I'm not bitter. I'm done. She let out a bitter laugh. You're pathetic. Do you know how dramatic this all looks? Bringing a folder, printing screenshots. You're just proving what we've always said. You're a control freak who can't let go. And you, I countered, are just proving that you only cared about me when I was funding your lifestyle. Tommy, who had barely spoken, finally piped up. Grandma, maybe we should all just... But I wasn't finished. Not by a long shot. You don't get to play the victim. Ashley shouted, her mascara beginning to run. You chose to help us. You didn't have to. And yet somehow, I said, stepping forward, you expected it every single time, until it wasn't help anymore. It was obligation. And when I stopped, you voted me out. My voice cracked, not from sadness, but from the rage I'd suppressed for years. You didn't want a grandmother. You wanted a bank with legs. Derek stood up now, still holding the folder. Is this true? He asked, looking at Ashley. All of this? Ashley looked at him, and for once she didn't have a comeback. No fake tears, no deflection, just silence. You lied to me, he said. About the hotel, about the money, about her. You made it sound like she was being unreasonable. I had to, she exploded. She was turning everyone against me. I wasn't, I said quietly. You did that all by yourself. The room went quiet again. Then Margaret leaned forward, trying one more time. Her voice softened in that placating way she used when she wanted something. Listen, Mom, we may have overreacted, but this is still family. Family fights. Let's just put this behind us and enjoy Thanksgiving dinner. We can talk about repayment plans later. I cut her off. You're not hearing me. She blinked. What? I'm not asking for peace. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm telling you I'm done. Ashley sneered, composing herself. Oh, stop pretending like this is some big moment. You've said that before. I looked her dead in the eyes. Not like this. I reached into my cardigan pocket and pulled out another envelope. The room tensed. What now? Frank asked, clearly exhausted by the drama. I tossed it onto the table. Tommy caught it before it slid off and opened it. He read the first line, and his eyes widened. What is this? He whispered. Power of attorney forms, I answered. For your mother and father. Revoked, medical proxy. Revoked, emergency contact. Removed. I've already filed the papers. I am legally and emotionally no longer responsible for any of you. Margaret gasped. You're cutting ties completely. Completely, I said. Starting now. You're being selfish, she said. Tears now forming. We made mistakes, but we're still your family. I turned to her, and my voice dropped again, calm and final. You're not. I grabbed my purse and coat, looked at them one last time, and walked toward the front door, leaving them in the middle of Thanksgiving dinner, stunned and speechless, surrounded by cold food and ugly truths. As I reached for the doorknob, Tommy called out, Grandma, wait. But I didn't. I walked out, and I didn't look back, not because it didn't hurt. It did. But as I closed the door behind me, stepped off my own porch, and into the cold November air, I felt something inside me shift. For the first time in years, I could breathe. I didn't drive straight home. I pulled off the road near Silver Lake Park, where Henry and I used to take Margaret fishing as a child. I sat there in silence, watching the moonlight ripple across the water, and felt something I hadn't experienced in years. Peace. No one pulling at me. No guilt. No pressure. No one waiting on a check or a ride or a favor. Just stillness. The next morning, silence. The day after that, still nothing. But on the third day, the messages started. First Margaret, a missed call, then another, then a voicemail. Mom, you really meant it. We were angry, but we're still your family. I didn't respond. Then came texts from Ashley. You don't realize what you've done. Derek's talking about separation. Are you happy now? Something is seriously wrong with you. Then Frank, you went too far. You all said things we regret. But what you did was nuclear. Margaret is a mess. Come fix this. I didn't reply to any of them. And honestly, I thought I'd feel guilty. I thought I'd toss and turn at night, wondering if I'd overreacted. But instead, I slept better than I had in years. There were no more second-guessing every text notification. No more waiting for the next crisis. No more late-night Venmo requests disguised as emergencies. For the first time in a decade, I could hear myself think. I started waking up early, tending to my neglected garden, brewing coffee slowly, instead of gulping it down between crisis calls. I made appointments I'd put off for years: dentist, doctor, even a therapist. Not because I was broken, but because I was finally allowed to take care of myself. I revised my will, removed Margaret as my executor, changed my passwords, closed every joint account they had access to, blocked Ashley on every platform. It wasn't about revenge anymore. It was about reclaiming my life. A week after Thanksgiving, I got a text from Tommy. "I didn't know you paid for my entire freshman year, when Dad lost his job. I'm sorry I went along with them. You were always the one who actually helped without making me feel like garbage about it." I didn't answer, but I read it twice. Then another surprise. A message from Derek. "I found the paperwork from that business loan. They wanted you to co-sign. It wasn't for a juice bar, it was to cover gambling debts." Everything in that folder checked out. Ashley lied to me too. I wasn't expecting that, but it confirmed what I already knew. A few days later, I did something I hadn't done in years. I booked a trip to Santa Fe. Not because I was running, but because I was finally free. No more, "You should stay close to home." No more, "Who will handle things if you're not around?" I started reconnecting with friends I'd pulled away from, because I was always too busy with family emergencies. My book club welcomed me back with open arms. My old colleague Diane invited me to join her hiking group. And the wildest part, no one asked for money. No one guilted me. No one tried to manipulate me. Just genuine connection. Simple, honest, clean. Someone at book club asked, "Don't you miss them?" I thought for a second, then said, "I miss who I thought they were. I don't miss who they showed themselves to be." I thought that was the end of it. I was wrong. With people like them, nothing ever ends cleanly, especially when they start to feel the consequences of your absence. The first few weeks of December were quiet, beautifully, eerily quiet. No calls, no guilt trips, just peace. Until Christmas approached. On December 22nd, I got a text from Margaret. Just a picture. It was their living room decked out, with lights and ornaments, a half-decorated tree, and in front and center, a massive empty space, where they usually stacked the presents. "It doesn't feel the same without you," the caption read. "Tommy keeps asking why Grandma isn't coming this year." I stared at it for a long time. No apology, no ownership, just the same manipulative undertone. "Look what you've done. Look who you're hurting." I didn't reply. December 23rd. Ashley tried calling. I let it ring out. Then she sent a message. "I know I messed up, but you don't have to punish everyone. Just come by for Tommy. He misses you." 2 minutes later. "Also, Mom and Dad are behind on their property taxes. I know you don't care anymore, but the county sent a notice today. I thought you'd want to know." There it was. The ask. Always hidden in a blanket of guilt. Always covered in fake concern. But it always ended the same way, with their hand out. I blocked her number. December 24th. A text from Rick. "You made your point, Carol. We get it. But enough is enough. We need help. We're still your family." That night, I sat alone by my fireplace, with a glass of wine. I looked around my cozy living room. No chaotic family dinner to prepare for. No arguments to mediate. No financial fires to put out. Just me and the silence they always said would destroy me. And for the first time in my life, I was thankful for that silence. But January brought a new tactic. I got a call from a number I didn't recognize. I picked up out of habit. "Is this Carol Winters?" A man's voice asked. "Yes." "Who's calling?" "My name is Jason. I'm calling on behalf of your daughter Margaret. She mentioned you're the executor of the family trust." I froze.
I resigned from that role 2 months ago. It was finalized by my attorney. My name is off everything. The man paused. I see. Your daughter said she couldn't reach you directly and asked me to explore options. They're in a bit of a financial bind. Of course they were. Margaret and Ashley had run out of options. The ATM was closed. The safety net was gone. Now they were getting creative. I hung up without another word. But the final straw came in February. I got an envelope in the mail. Handwritten, no return address, but I recognized Margaret's precise penmanship instantly. Inside was a letter. 3 pages. The first page was all about regret. We said things in anger.
You've always been the rock of this family. We never realized how much we leaned on you. The second page turned to guilt. Dad's blood pressure is concerning the doctors. Ashley and Derek are in counseling. We're worried about Tommy. His grades are slipping. And the third page, that was the hook. We're refinancing the house, but we're underwater on the mortgage. We just need a little help to get through this rough patch. Then we'll never ask again. Please, Mom, do it for Tommy. I sat with Margaret's letter for a while. Let myself feel every emotion they wanted to trigger. The weight of responsibility, the sting of obligation, the aching need to fix what was broken. Then I folded the letter, got up, walked to the kitchen, and dropped it in the trash. The truth was, they weren't asking for reconciliation. They were asking for access again. They didn't want me back in the family. They wanted the version of me who didn't say no. The one who paid silently, sacrificed silently, suffered silently. But that version of me, she was gone. I wasn't their scapegoat anymore. I wasn't their golden goose. I wasn't the duct tape holding a broken family together. I was done, and the most terrifying part for them, I was thriving without them. I sold my house, the one with all the painful memories, and bought a smaller place in a neighborhood I'd always loved. Sun-filled rooms, a garden patio, walking distance to the library. I started volunteering at the animal shelter on weekends. Not because anyone needed me to, but because I wanted to. I joined a travel group for women, over 50, and booked a trip to Spain. I built a life where no one called me at midnight to cover a mistake they refused to own. Where I wasn't punished for having boundaries. Where kindness wasn't used as leverage. I don't regret helping them. But I do regret how long it took me to stop. You want to know what real peace feels like? It's not being surrounded by family. It's being free from people who only call you family when they need something. 6 months later, on a crisp spring morning, my doorbell rang. I wasn't expecting anyone. When I opened the door, Tommy stood there, looking taller than I remembered. More grown up somehow. Hi, Grandma, he said softly. Tommy, I replied, surprised. How did you find me? Uncle Frank told me. Don't be mad at him. I hesitated, then stepped back. Would you like to come in? He nodded and followed me to the kitchen. I made coffee while he looked around at my new place. Mom doesn't know I'm here, he said finally. They don't talk about you anymore. It's like you died or something. I set a mug in front of him. Maybe part of me did. He looked down at his coffee. I read everything in that folder after you left. I found it in Mom's closet. Is that why you cut us all off? The money? I shook my head. It was never about the money, Tommy. It was about respect. About truth. About being valued for who I am, not what I could provide. He nodded slowly. I get that now. He reached into his backpack and pulled out an envelope. I got a scholarship to state. Full ride. I didn't tell them yet. That's wonderful, I said, genuinely proud. I want to do it right, he continued. Not end up like them. Always taking. Always needing bailouts. He slid the envelope across the table. So I'm paying you back. It's not much,
Just what I saved from my job at the hardware store. But it's a start. I looked at the envelope, but didn't touch it.
Keep it, Tommy. That's not why I'm here. Then why are you telling me all this? The question hung between us.
Finally, I said, because someone needs to break the cycle. And I think it might be you.
Later, after Tommy left, without the money, but with some homemade cookies and my new phone number, I sat on my patio watching the sunset. A text came through. Thanks, Grandma, for everything, especially the truth. Some might call me cold. Some might say I should forgive and forget. But I know this now. Sometimes the bravest thing isn't standing by your family no matter what. Sometimes the bravest thing is walking away when family becomes nothing but a word people use to control you. And in that walking away, I finally found my way home.